So how is it in India right now? I mean, you're there right now, Archie. Tell me, I need, how is my beautiful India doing?
Yes, India is suffering from COVID-19 as all over in the world. Everyone is going the same kind of a phase right now. Even in India, Mumbai, it's actually shattered, and a lot of people are they are jobless, and it's very difficult now actually in India. But at the same time, people from small villages, they are actually taking care of themselves, and this is a very thing. They are actually following the rules which have been regulations. The rules and regulations have been declared by the state governments and the central government. Are actually they are following it. They are trying hard, and they are actually sealed their borders, and they are taking care of themselves in the small pockets. And that is why we can see that a lot of areas in even in India, when the density is much higher than many other places in the world, it is
Yeah.
we can see still we can see the green pockets. Still we can see the people, the ratio of increase in the positive cases is less than many other places in the world.
Well, I mean, I live in the United States. I'm Canadian,
Yeah, yeah.
and my husband and I are living in the United States right now. And there's a huge
Hmm.
difference because Canada was locked down very quickly, and the people followed the rules fairly well.
Hmm.
And so I think out of the whole country, and Canada has a smaller population, and it's most of the really dense population is towards the US border. But still, there has been, I think, 6,500 deaths in all of Canada. And in the United States, although they have a bigger population, it's not 10 times the size, and they've had over 100,000 deaths.
Hmm.
So it's, and New York, which is very densely populated, I think the
You
virus took
have
hold.
you have a very clear idea about India, so you can definitely you can imagine what must be
Yeah,
happening over here. Yes. I
took,
still remember, Lee, I still remember then when you were actually writing your book, and that time you had, shared with me in India, the trust level is as it is quite low, even that particular time, and it's some years before we are talking about. But now, if this is pandemic, so you can imagine that what must be living their lives below poverty line, so it's very difficult for them. But governments and state governments and central government, they are taking every single important step for them, providing food, providing everything. All their basic needs are complete, and everyone is going through all those problems.
so they're showing that they care.
Yes, yes.
It's very important. And I can tell you that when I was in India, the
Hmm.
competence that we were shown as far as taking precautions were
Hmm.
much greater than they were when we came back to the United States. And hopefully, anyone who's listening to this, I won't get into the politics. I don't know why it was, but when we were in India and the pandemic had started, when we went to the hotel, we went to different hotels, every single one took our temperature, had us go through a checklist. We had to see a doctor before we got any kind of an opportunity to even be at the hotel. They made sure that we were healthy.
Wow.
And then
Yes.
we kept that paper with us. And when we got back to the United States, we didn't feel that there was those same precautions. So I think that in that regard, what we observed
Hmm.
in India was very good, very good.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Let me see. I was just looking for, just 2 seconds,
Sure.
and here's the RT. So here's the, so
It's
you
a
had
new
asked,
book.
there's the new book. There's my new book that I wrote.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing. This front
So
cover looks really very cool.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, could you just tell us about your new book and what does it me stand for?
So the book's name, because
Uh-huh.
whenever someone says, trust me, usually
Hmm.
we don't. So it's
Hmm.
almost like we think the opposite. If someone says, oh, don't worry, trust me. And so I thought, what if I wrote a book that really captures and helps people to actually believe that that can be true. So the book is called Trust Me, Restore Belief and Confidence in an Uncertain World. So,
Hmm.
so Trust Me, Restore Belief and Confidence in an Uncertain World
Wow.
is
Wow.
really about stories of people who show trust in a very, very good way, like Annabelle Jensen. I think you know her as one of
Yes.
the heads of 6 Seconds.
Who?
So I
Yes,
interviewed
definitely.
Annabelle.
We definitely know her. Yes.
Yeah. So she was one of the people that I interviewed. Another person that I interviewed was Academy Award nominee Jan Godin, who had, I mean, a woman trying to get into the movie industry in the 80s was very difficult. And she had so much to overcome, and yet she was able to forge her way through because of the trust she had for herself. So
Hmm.
I write about her, and there's some wonderful stories about what I call the exemplars of
Hmm.
trust. And then all the lessons that you can learn from them, how to communicate in crisis situations, which is perfect right now. And
Wow.
everything from how to know what you're reading is the truth, because
Yes.
there's so many things on the internet now that you don't know, what do I believe, what don't I believe, and what should I take as the truth. So it's
Yes.
all of that in the book.
Wow. I would definitely love to have another, session on your stories part, trust stories. I would definitely would like to have some other day, some other session for this
Absolutely.
particular, because it just sounds so interesting that, there are people and there is a trust, there are other emotions and how they are dealing with it and what's happening in their life. So it's really,
Yeah.
really very interesting. So I wish you will not say no and you will say yes for the new another session
For
for the
you,
trust
Artie, always.
stories.
Yes. For
Yes.
everybody who's listening to Artie, I have to let you know that when I moved to India, Artie was the first person who reached out to me, and she didn't know me. She just kind of knew me from seeing what I had written on the web, and she was the first person who invited me to her home to share a meal with her and her family. And the best, Rick still talks about your mother-in-law's pickles.
Yes. Oh my God.
It was a fabulous meal, and her
Yes,
family is
yes,
as
yes.
warm and lovely as she is. So,
Oh.
Artie, you were my first friend in
Yes,
India.
definitely, definitely. I will keep ready pickle when next time you will be visiting to India.
Good.
Wow, and also the spices which I think
Yes,
I had shared with you.
yes. She gave us a jar of, I think it was black masala. What? No,
Yes.
was it black? And it was. We were so sad when we finished it. It was like my
Ah!
husband kept saying, "We have to go back to India and get some more of Artie's spice."
Oh, definitely. You can trust me for this particular thing 100%.
Very good,
When you will
very
be
good.
coming
I
to
will let
India
my
next
husband know.
time, just trust me that I will be definitely, over you or some way. I will, we will meet, or even if we don't meet, I will, send it to someone.
Good, good, good.
Your masala, your pickle will be definitely ready.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Wow.
Yes.
So Lee, what are your other passions? I know you are very much in trust now, but what are your other passions?
Well, I mean, for things that I do, I mean, I've told you I've taken up gardening, and I used to joke because I'd
Yes.
say I didn't like gardening, and then all of a sudden I discovered that I am channeling my grandmother. My grandparents were farmers, and they owned a big farm, in northern Canada, and I used to go out to the farm when I was a little girl, and then all of a sudden I've discovered this passion for growing things, and I get such satisfaction. So that's one of them.
Wow,
I
that's
made,
nice.
and then of course, as something for the neighborhood, I made masks for as many people in the neighborhood because they're very hard to find. So I made masks for everybody, and I enjoyed that. And I bake. I'm kind of, my friends in the neighborhood are saying that I'm evil, and it's in a good way, because they are trying to lose weight and they can't because I bake, and I bake so much, and then I
Okay.
distribute it through neighbors. Like I will fill a bag of baked goods and put it on their
Wow.
doorstep, and then call them and
Yeah,
say,
I,
yes, I've
I, I
left.
keep seeing your photos on Facebook, and I keep seeing those. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes,
that's
yes.
been kind of funny.
And I also remember maple syrup, the one you had given to me when you were in India. And that maple syrup you had, I think, got from Canada, all the way
Yes.
from Canada. And that bottle got over so soon. It's just my kids, they loved it so much.
So here's my promise. When I come back to India, I will bring you maple syrup, and you can give
Yes,
me some pickles and masala.
yes, yes. That's so cool. That's so cool.
That's very good. So what I want everybody to be aware of is that trust starts with yourself. If you can't trust yourself, then how will you know others to trust? So trust starts from the inside and works out. And Artie and I talked about how emotions affect trust. And the one thing that you need to realize is that they give you information. It's not the answer, it's the information that you need to listen to. So when you meet somebody and you're feeling anxious, I want you to be aware of how you're feeling and then ask your question to yourself: how is this affecting whether or not I trust them? It doesn't always mean that your emotions are telling you the truth. It's giving you information. I talked about the 5 tenets of trust, and they are caring, commitment, consistency, competence, and communication. So ask yourself again, is that person that you are talking to, can you really tell that they care about you? And how do you know they care about you? Are they consistent with what they say and what they do? Are their words and their deeds match? Are they competent? Do they have the skills? Do they actually have the skills to do what they say they'll do? The company that you trust, are they able to deliver the product that they say that they can deliver? So competence is part of it. And so caring, commitment, do they make the commitment to you? Consistency, as I said, their words and deeds match. Competence, do they have the skills? And the last one is communication. Can they communicate all of that to you?
Yes.
If you put all of that together, you should be asking yourself, when you read information, do they follow those 5 tenets? And if you do, if you ask those questions, then your trust can actually be something that you can count on. Because I think the worst thing that can happen to us is that we trust something and we find out that we've been duped. We find out that really we made a mistake. So when you extend your trust, ask yourself the questions, make sure you know that they can actually deliver on their trust. And
Wow.
I think if you do that, you'll have the trust that you need to get through this pandemic.
Yes. Amazing, amazingly. And I definitely believe and trust my audience that they all have mindfully listened to the message what Lee just shared with us. And if we become little mindful about it and try to follow this 5 C's of trust in life and grab the information and try to ask the question, communicate self and ask and
Yeah.
try to, self trust and then on others. And I think that is going to bring a lot of important good things in our life. And definitely we will definitely strongly and fiercely with any virus, not only COVID-19.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So thank you very much, Lee, coming over here in the Mindful Heart Talk Show and sharing a lot of nice different thoughts with our audience. And I know after lockdown, you will be definitely going on your run back or your,
Yeah.
cycling and trekking.
And when this is over, we will go scuba diving again. My husband and I
Wow.
both will train for another sprint marathon. And congratulations on your marathon, Arti. That was
Yes, thank you
fabulous.
so much. Thank you so much. Yes, even I'm looking forward to the next one.